You may be wondering what mediation is and if it's the right process for you for your divorce. Mediation is when a mediator, who at our firm, our mediators are experienced family law attorneys that also wear the hat as mediator. When you and your spouse go into a Zoom meeting with the mediator and you tell us what the financial issues are in your divorce and what concerns or issues you have with your kids, and the mediator will help both of you reach agreements in order to finalize your divorce on terms that both of you are happy with. So if you have a case that will work with mediation, highly recommend you do that. My mother had a family law practice who's now retired, and she had a 100% success rate with doing mediation because she was so careful with the cases she took for mediation. And we do the same at my firm. You have to be able to communicate with your spouse, and you have to be able to cooperate and reach agreements together. If you think you might be a good fit for mediation, I would strongly recommend you schedule a free case evaluation with my firm, and our intake specialist will speak to you at length to make sure you do have a good case for mediation. And if you do, she will match you with one of our mediators who will meet with you and your spouse in order to help you resolve your financial and custody issues in order for you to quickly get divorced in a non-adversarial manner by agreement and move on to your next chapter. Mediation is the best way to get divorced. It's the ideal way to get divorced. It's the way that most people get divorced if they don't have a high conflict relationship with their spouse. It's the best way because it's the fastest. You don't have to go through the public courtroom. You don't have to do these drawn out negotiations between either you and your spouse or both of your attorneys. A mediator is going to meet with both of you together for several sessions, help understand what the two of you can agree on. If there's some little things you can't agree on, or maybe you're just not sure and you haven't talked about it yet, the mediator will help you both kind of talk about it and better understand each of your perspectives and help you both kind of bridge that gap to figure out what solution is going to be agreeable to each of you. At my firm, our mediators will explain the law to you. We can't give you legal advice because that's not the role of the mediator, but we'll explain to you kind of what California would do in your situation, so each of you have an idea of what that would look like based on your financials and how you want to share custody of your kids, and then draft up a marital settlement agreement that each of you are happy with, and then we'll submit it on your behalf to the court. So you don't have to do any of the drafting. You don't have to have an attorney trying to negotiate with another attorney or deal with the court system. As long as you and your spouse are able to eventually reach agreements with our mediator, we'll be able to do it all for you. And all you have to do is, click the button and show up on Zoom for several sessions so we understand what you need, and then we can provide that to you. So if you're able to communicate and cooperate with your spouse, I'd highly recommend you contact us so that we can help you with your mediation. If you are thinking about doing mediation, there are a lot of mediators out there, like a lot of mediators, and not all of them are good mediators. At my firm, our mediators are experienced family law attorneys who have decades of practice, who know the law like the back of their hand and can help you, develop a settlement agreement related to the division of, complex assets, RSUs, stock issues, business interests, the whole gamut. Not every mediator is like that. You don't have to be a family law attorney to be a mediator. You can be, anybody can call themselves a mediator. A mediator is not held by the same standards that the California State Bar holds family law attorneys. So be very careful with how you choose your mediator, and make sure that that mediator has family law attorney experience and can actually draft settlement for you that will, make sense and, align with what community property law requires. Also, no matter who you choose as a mediator, I would strongly recommend that you do hire a consulting attorney behind the scenes. Keep in mind that it's not a mediator's job to advise you of your legal rights. At my firm, all our mediators will tell you, what the law is and different kinds of solutions. We can't give each of you specifically tailored legal advice to preserve your interests. So we always recommend, both parties have a consulting attorney behind the scenes just to double check everything and make sure you're protected and make sure you understand everything and that it's truly an agreement that, will preserve your financial interests and your custody rights. You might be wondering what the process is to prepare for mediation. Typically, if you're going to do mediation with our firm, one of the mediators on our team, you'll be scheduled for a consult with them. And you might think it's just going to be with you, but it's actually with you and your spouse. Mediation is something you both will do together, so you'll both have kind of equal access and equal communication with our mediators. During that initial meeting, you'll be talked through what mediation is and how it's really, you and your spouse's opportunity to reach agreement so that our mediators can draft up a settlement agreement for you and submit it to the court and get you divorced. Some things that you'll learn about is what kind of financial information our mediators will need from you in order to make sense of your financials and help you, understand what that agreement should look like, so that your financial interests are appropriately divided and determined. So financials are a big component of mediation, and you will need to give us all of that information, but you can do it kind of more as a team since this is more of a joint approach. You'll also want to think through, what kind of parenting plan would you like to have with your spouse? And that's a great kind of opportunity for the two of you to discuss this together and figure out what makes the most sense for you. You're both the parents. You're going to know way more about your kids than we will. It is our job, though, to give you kind of ideas and suggestions based on our experience, of course. But I would come in with a full understanding of, what you believe would be best for your kids, as well as, what you're kind of thinking of as far as the outcome you'd like with your financials. If you're not sure, that's okay. A lot of people are super overwhelmed coming into this process. So I don't mean to say you have to know all these things up front, because whatever you don't know or whatever you're nervous about, our mediators are going to walk you through and make sure you understand. We have all the patience in the world. It's our ideal outcome that you feel informed and you feel prepared and you feel comfortable all along the way. So these are some information you can gather and you can come prepared with, but if you don't have all the answers, that's okay. We're going to kind of help walk you through it so you feel comfortable. If you're thinking about going through mediation, you might wonder what the outcome is going to be like after you do mediation. If it's a successful mediation and you and your spouse are able to communicate and reach agreements, and our mediators, are able to help you both kind of think of outside the box solutions on, dividing your community property interests, like your business interests, figuring out how to value and divide your stock, figuring out how to value and divide your real estate portfolio, whatever it is. On the other side, once the mediation's completed, you should expect that we'll have drafted all of the court forms needed, as well as a contract called a marital settlement agreement that identifies to the court, all of your assets and how they're going to be divided, and that if you have children, how you're going to share your kids. All of that we're going to fill out for you and submit it to the court. Then it's kind of a waiting game. We're waiting for the judge to sign off, so we get a file endorsed copy of your judgment back from the court. Then we can provide it to you. And then you'll be officially divorced. Another thing you can expect from mediation is finality. Because you've reached agreements with your spouse and we've drafted up that contract, we've submitted to the judge has stamped it, that's it. You reached an agreement. It's over. So, if you have second thoughts, regrets, it's too late. So make sure if you're going to sign off in an agreement that you're certain about it. We've had a handful of cases of clients that have wanted to go to court and ask a judge to release them from the terms of their mediation, and judges won't do that, and they get really frustrated with you for asking. So, just keep in mind it's final. This is your divorce, and be happy that it's over with quickly and that you were a good candidate for mediation and you didn't have to go through the whole court process. But, what you agree to is what you agree to. So do keep that in mind if you're going to go through this mediation process in order to expedite your divorce and make it more collaborative and cost effective.